I use a model called hungry, humble, and smart. I want people who are hungry, to Tom's point with hustle. I want people who are humble, who are not, it's all about me because we're a team. And, as cliche as it sounds, there's no I in team. There really isn't. And we work together as a team. We can have conflict as a team too, to your point about how do you have conversations when you're talking about that. And then the other one is I need people who are smart. I don't need people who know everything. I can teach you anything I need to teach you. I just need you to be smart enough to understand the people that you're working with, the people who are in the room, and the conversations that are being said, so that you're making sure that you're not talking over somebody, you're not shutting somebody down from making a comment, and you're also not bragging.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Business of Learning podcast. My name is Joao Camargo. I am your host, and my guests here today are Jenn and Tom Maxwell, who are the co-founders of Maxwell TEC. Jenn, Tom, thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm excited to have this conversation. Yeah, why don't we start off with you guys just telling, I know that there's two of you, so you don't have to say the same thing, but why don't one of you start off with just telling us a little bit more about Maxwell TEC, who you guys are, what you're all about, who you help, and what made you found the company.
Yeah. Tom, you want to start?
I'll let you go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, so we just rebranded just this last week. So we were formerly Maxwell Healthcare Associates. We started the company back in 2016 in relationship to asks from our fellow colleagues in the space, asking for assistance with optimization and, people, process, and assisting with technology optimization along with that. And so we were doing a lot of free consulting, kind of didn't really think too much about it. But then it was just like sitting in our backyard one day and said, I think it's time we should probably just start a consulting firm. Let's just kind of make it a boutique. Let's not have a lot of people. We'll, run our lifestyle through it. We'll just have fun and be able to help our colleagues in the space.
Yeah.
Well, here we are just about 9 years later. We have over 100 consultants across the nation. We have just over 30 employees in 14 states. And we now develop tech-enabled products along with our strategic solutions that we do consulting as well. Mm-hmm. It's been a fun journey. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, that sounds, first of all, congratulations on a lot of the growth. Of course, not everybody that starts a business can go through that or does go through that at all. I'd say about the majority kind of give up halfway through. So I always like to commend anyone that goes through that process. And talk to me a little bit more about, as you guys were starting the company and really made that decision to start your own practice and go ahead with, okay, we're really going to do this. What were some of the challenges that were happening along the way that you guys really had to face early on to not only get things going in the way that you wanted, but build that trust with the initial customers and everything else that comes alongside the creation and the early phases of a business?
Yeah, let me take this one and I'll make it fun and then I'll make it real. So first of all, his advice is don't ever be a co-CEO or with your spouse. That's very challenging and difficult and lead to a lot of lonely nights sleeping in a different bedroom because decisions you made or didn't make. One, and then two, I would say we were blessed. I was the chief operating officer and chief strategy officer of Home Care Home Base, which is the largest EMR in the space. We retired from that. Jennifer was running the Minnesota Home Care and Hospice Association. So we have deep expertise in our space. Mm-hmm. So people were coming to us and asking us to help them. He also, in our industry, there was a couple different consulting companies that had been bought by EMRs. And so they were more of that other competitor agnostic. And so there was a real need in the space for us to create an environment. We started out really just trying to do optimizations and integrations and implementations. And over time it evolved to, can you do this? Can you do that? Can you produce data for us? Can you do analysis around, business analytics? And then we were trying to solve problems. The other side of it, I would say that really helped us grow is we were investors in different kinds of businesses that used our technologies too. And so we would see problems inside of St. Croix Hospice or Agape Care or Mission or these agencies we were invested in. And we were like, hey, how can we solve that problem? And so we weren't just trying to come up with a creative problem to solve. We actually saw the problem and then figured out the creative solution. Jen, I don't know what you want to add to that.
Yeah. And I would say, when you think about like trust and engagement, kind of what you were referring to is I think, in the situation where Tom and I came from, we had our careers for, several decades before we became business owners ourselves. And so I feel that, we had a better understanding of relationships, how to handle those. We have long-term relationships in our space. So when we started the company, we really, I, my VP of marketing, who rolls over every time I tell the story, but we literally started the company in the backyard, and I got on, the websites, got our LLC and our EIN, and I put together a website on Wix. And so, very simple, just, place for people to land. And we really didn't do marketing right out of the gate. I mean, it was just word of mouth. We had already had the calls, and that I think, if you were to fast forward, we made a lot of penetration, right out of the gate. We had a lot of organic growth just from relationships. I would say where our challenges have landed to us is now how do we take from, we have a strong home care, home-based background, but we also have clinicians, CEOs, CFOs, COOs, PTs, OTs, STs as all of our consultants that have been on multiple EMRs. So we're not just a home care, home-based shop. We're all things EMR and technology. So we've really been trying to bolster that component that is, we don't just do home care, home base. We work with every client and every size.
Very, very cool. Thank you guys for of course sharing that. I always like to hear and the reason why I like to ask that question is because we often get like the, hey, here's everything that's great so far and all these things, but we don't get the, hey, here's the struggles that actually happened in the beginning that nobody had to go through.
Yeah.
But telling the story is easy enough, but actually being in the story, going through the journey is a completely different situation. So thank you guys for sharing that. I would also love to hear when it comes to the conversations you're having internally of, okay, how do we pivot from what we're doing now to possibly rebranding now, or how do we go from this specific struggle that we're having internally? How you guys have that conversation internally, and with your other team members to tackle any of these challenges or disagreements and discussions, as Tom referred to, when they are happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you want to start? Yeah.
Let me start. I'll go with, what got us here is not going to get us there. And so we always look at, what's working, what's not working, and what needs to be changed. We spend a lot of time on, sales and marketing strategy, the products. I would also say that the industry's involved a ton. COVID was really good for home care and hospice and really bad for home care and hospice. We Jennifer and I proud ourselves in, we survived COVID. We were a consulting company that got on airplanes, that traveled around the country, that went to see our customers, and all of a sudden that all went away. You couldn't travel, you couldn't get on an airplane, you couldn't do that. So we evolved. We became a Zoom shop or a team shop for consulting, changed the game completely.
Yeah.
We pride ourselves in saying that we didn't let any of our staff go. We kept everybody that was all of our full-time employees stayed involved with the organization. We found things for them to do. We evolved. We developed a software company, another software company called Muse Healthcare out of the Maxwell umbrella. We sold that to Metalogix, and then they sold it to Berkshire. We built that during COVID. I mean, we started in 2019 and went to market in 2020. So it's super, super exciting times to do those things. But, we pride ourselves in, you have to evolve, you have to change, you have to continue to reinvent who you are, upgrade talent, downgrade talent, move people into the right roles. We had people in the wrong roles on the bus. We move them to the right role, and they shine. So I think we're, I pride ourselves in, we're really blessed that we can pick good talent. We were able to identify the right people that we, an area of the business that we want to hire. And one of the things I always brag about is, I'm not that smart of a guy, but I know how to pick out really good talent that are really smart people.
Do you think that comes from just intuition, or is there certain specific traits that both of you guys are looking for to finding the right people to put them in the right seats?
Yeah, I think it's,
I would say that
our core values for sure, but hustle is the most important one. We want people that really want to hustle. They want to get out there and really learn and try and have empathy and that they have a hustle factor. And it's something that I've pinned myself on for a lot of my career. And I learned it from my father. And Jen and I both grew up in, families that had to hustle in order to make a living. And so we always look for hustle. That's one of the biggest factors. Those that want to work hard, they want to get out there and really try. You're going to fail. You're going to make mistakes, but
Yeah.
if you're not out there hustling, you're never going to make a mistake.
And Jess, it seemed like you were going to add something to that as well. Go ahead.
Yeah, we do. I use a model called hungry, humble, and smart. I want people who are hungry, to Tom's point with hustle. I want people who are humble, who are not, it's all about me because we're a team. And, as cliche as it sounds, there's no I in team. There really isn't. And we work together as a team. We can have conflict as a team too, to your point about how do you have conversations when you're talking about that? And then the other one is I need people who are smart. I don't need people who know everything. I can teach you anything I need to teach you. I just need you to be smart enough to understand the people that you're working with, the people who are in the room, and the conversations that are being said, so that you're making sure that you're not talking over somebody, you're not shutting somebody down from making a comment, and you're also not bragging. There's nothing more than when you're sitting in a room and somebody's grandstanding and the entire room is shut down and they don't see it, but we all do.
Yeah.
So those are kind of the big traits that we do look for in our team. And I would tell you the culture is very strong, considering we have 3 offices. We have one in Arizona, we have one in Dallas, and we have one in Minnesota. And then we still have remote people across other states. And we have a very strong team that works really hard together and gets really excited about the tough stuff sometimes. And that's what's fun about it.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great that you highlighted those things as well, because there are certain patterns that I've noticed so much from these conversations that I've had, of course, for my own business as well. And it's always fun to see how it highlights back to every single person's experience, but in different ways. So even just the culture aspect, you guys being able to analyze and hire for the right culture from the get-go. It's not like, hey, find the right or who we think is the right person, and then after they get hired, okay, here's our culture. It's like, no. Here's our culture from the get-go. Make sure that we are in the right position to put you in the right position, as opposed to just waiting it out and doing things there. So thank you for highlighting those things as well. And I would love to ask, of course, I don't know all the goals that you guys have for the company, and I'm sure they are aligned with keeping the company growing. So when thinking about the growth and keeping the company in a steady pace, or even an exponential pace, of course, preferably, there's a question that I always like to ask people who come on the podcast, which is this. Let's say you had a magic wand and you could just wave this amazing wand to solve one thing within the company. It's a challenge, an obstacle, whatever it might be, that would allow you to hit your revenue targets, your impact goals, whatever it might be, just like that. Usually something that you can control, something that's knocking on your door every day. I was like, oh, if I could just solve this thing, I would be very, very grateful. You wave that wand, that one thing gets solved. What would you guys want to solve in the company?
Go ahead, Jen.
Well, that I always say that, the industry that we work in is really hard. It's like there's no crystal ball. There's no like the crazy 8 ball where you can ask it a question and it'll give you the answer. But I would say that really where if I could wave a magic wand today, I would say that unleashing our tech to the entire industry. If I could wave, we have like the build up for it is so strong right now. It's just been if I could turn the switch to get everybody to just go gangbusters at it, that's what I would do. It's all right there. It's right at our fingertips. It's coming. It's a patience factor for me, and I think the team. Tom?
Interesting. It's right. I just want to ask a couple further there before you answer your side of things, Tom, as well. Do you mean that at an awareness level, Jennifer? So like making sure that the people who can utilize these things know that they exist in the first place and then pump that out later? Is that what you meant by that?
I think it's a combination of both.
Okay.
We have very long-term clients that have been with us since day one. But it's interesting, even though we have great relationships with them and that, sometimes they don't realize what all we do. And so it's kind of like we're constantly re-educating our clients on the products and services that we have, because they have turnover in their teams.
Yeah.
So we're constantly rebuilding. So I'd say that that's probably, we could wave a wand and everybody just gets it.
Thank you for clarifying that. So it's like the awareness side of things, but also the education to make sure that, hey, that this exists, but here's actually all of what this can do for you as well. So yeah, thank you for that. Tom, what would you say as well?
Yeah, mine's going to be a little more industry level, which would change our company as well. And it's something that I've been spending a lot of time on and very passionate about. And there's all these grandmas and grandpas in the world that are ESRD patients, so end-stage renal disease. And when you have end-stage renal disease, you have you're on dialysis. Usually, you have COPD or CHF or diabetes. You have multiple diseases. These patients deserve to be on hospice, but because of the way the government's set up the reimbursement plans, no doctor's ever going to say stop dialysis, go on hospice, because you'll die. When you stop dialysis, you'll die. But the way the government set up the reimbursement is you can't be on dialysis and on hospice at the same time. It's one or the other. And so until we change that, we're going to have all these patients that struggle, that go in and out of the system, that spend all the Medicare dollars or all the Medicare Advantage dollars at the end of life because they're cycling in and out of the hospital when they really just want to figure out how to have a nice, peaceful end of life.
Mm-hmm.
But because we can't take them off dialysis, they can't go on hospice. They don't qualify. And you can't go on hospice if you're on dialysis. So that we're kind of at this inroads. And until the government figures that out and solves this problem, millions of patients are going to suffer that should be not suffering as much on hospice. So I spent a lot of my time helping run lobby groups, helping, broadcast that message, trying to figure out solutions for it. Yeah. I think that would change our industry completely, because there's patients that are suffering that aren't getting the care they deserve appropriately because of government regulation and policy. So that's what I would change.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that as well. It's great to see that there are different perspectives, and as you guys were saying in the beginning, like how each of you are thinking about the growth and in different ways, but going into the same direction as well. So that's really, really cool. And then just a quick final question that I have for you guys here. It's actually not a question from me. It's a question from our last guest to you guys, and they had no idea who you were. So here's the question. Are you ready for it?
Sure.
Considering where you are in life, what made you get there? Was it a coincidence, or did you plan for it?
I'll start. So absolute coincidence. Jennifer and I met at the National Association of Home Care and Hospice. We were both selected to be on a board election committee, and we flew to Washington, D.C. from two different parts of the world. I came from Texas. She came from Minnesota. We landed in a restaurant to have dinner prior to the board meeting. That's how we met. And so that kind of started our journey together. And, both of us were really hardworking. We both came from nothing. We were both, somewhat successful. We both love giving back. We both love this industry. So that was a drawing or calling that while we found each other. So yeah, I think that's the real purpose. It was a total coincidence that Val Helmendaris, who's passed away and gone, but he called me and kind of forced me to come to that meeting. I really didn't want to go. And he called Jennifer and forced her to come, and she really didn't want to go. And here we both are. We're here. So wow. We met each other, and we're changing the lives of many, many, many people. We're very successful in making sure that our staff is able to change the lives of their families and generations. And then that's something that we pride ourselves in more than anything.
Amazing. Yeah. Anything to add there, Jen?
Yeah, I would agree that it was coincidence. We both had, successful careers on our own, and in the same space, but different in different verticals. And, having that same passion, it just really, all of a sudden, it became an opportunity. And when not only your life partner has the same passion and the same wants for our industry, to be able to age in place in our homes with our loved ones and our dogs and all of the things that don't happen today for folks. It was fun. It just made it simple and made it easy. And, while being a married couple and learning to navigate those things, being business partners has been such a rewarding experience with Tom.
That's amazing.
I couldn't have a different one.
It's awesome. And you guys are, I'm sure you're familiar with Alex and Layla Hermosi as well.
Sure.
Are you?
Mm.
No?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So they're actually an entrepreneur, a couple of entrepreneurs, a married couple that are entrepreneurs and are co-founders of their own company. They run a private equity firm with a bunch of portfolio companies. And a lot of what you guys are saying reminded me of that, just finding the right person by kind of accident, but coincidentally, and that allowed everything to trickle down, but supporting each other is having similar goals as well. And sometimes even bigger goals for each other than you have for yourself. So it's awesome to think. It's an awesome thing to actually see that, not in front of me because you're on a computer right now, but kind of in front of me. And in any case, but guys, thank you so much for hopping on and being part of this conversation. I had a lot of fun. Where should people go if they want to learn a little bit more about you or a little bit more about the company?
Maxwell TEC.com.
Amazing. I will, of course, leave everything down below. I'll leave both of their LinkedIn's here if you want to get in touch, or I don't know if they will respond or not. Try your best. But if you want to, of course, if you enjoyed listening to this conversation, you want to get more conversations like this, please subscribe, and I will see you on the next episode. Thank you so much, Jen. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Good job.
Okay, fine.